So good day everyone. I am right here in front of your screens to discuss green revolution and genetic engineering. So to supply food for emerging nations with expanding populations, agricultural research facilities began creating tropical wheat and rice varieties about 50 years ago. One of the first miracle varieties was a dwarf, high-yielding grain that Norman Borlaug created in Mexico. So in his story, um, this man's scientific knowledge, together with farm workers, students, and interns, they successfully made a variety of semi-dwarf, high-yielding wheat that could resist diseases and could also avoid bending and breaking of the stalk that often occurs in high-yielding ground. So, gumawa sila, create sila ng wheat and rice, mga varieties ng wheat at rice na maka-avoid ng mga diseases at saka naiiwasan yung pag-bend ng mga parang sanga kung sa trees pa sanga mga stalks ng mga wheat kaya minsan hindi nakaka-harvest yung mga farmers nila doon because sometimes since it is putted in high yielding grounds, maybe ang air doon malakas so mabali yung mga stalks, which will come up na hindi sila maka-harvest. So this man created another variety of wheat na maka-avoid ng mga ganun na instances. So another one, a dwarf variety of rice was also developed at about the same time by the International Rice Institute in the Philippines, which produced 3 or 4 times as much as other types at that time. So the Green Revolution was the introduction of novel plant species that significantly increased yield. It is one of the primary reasons that over the past few decades, food production has been able to keep pace with the sharp expansion in global population. So, yun na yung meaning ng Green Revolution. Nagagawa sila ng mga iba't ibang variety ng mga plants upang maka-create sila ng more production. So, furthermore, and in these two situation, yung kanina kay Mark Berglar at saka dito sa Rice Institute, International Rice Institute of the Philippines, they both engage in Green Revolution. They both did the introduction of new high-yielding varieties into emerging countries led to a significant increase in the production of food grains. Yung sinabi ko kanina. It does not only made the researcher to be famous because of their works, but syempre it also helped people around the world to cope with the resources despite with the emerging population. So malaking tulong ito para sa mga countries na para maka-cope up yung resources, especially yung ganito basic resources natin, yung food, which comes from the plant. So it's a big green revolution is a big help for us to cope with the resources. So the green revolution cultivars are referred to as high responders because when given the right amount of water, fertilizer, and herbicides, they produce more. Poor farmers cannot afford expensive fertilizers, seeds, and water to participate in the green revolution and are left behind. On the other side, high responders may not yield as effectively as traditional kinds under suboptimal conditions. So, in all of these innovations, there are still setbacks. The Green Revolution may be an opportunity to have excellent production in a country's agriculture. However, those who could not get enough needed things are still unable to participate in this kind of innovations. Siyempre, sa sinabi nga ng article na binigay doon sa SIM, ma-left behind yung mga poor farmers kasi siyempre, kaya nga high responders kasi mas mataas talaga ang chance lalo na kapag mabigyan ng tamang patubig, tamang suporta para sa agriculture needs nila. So, magagawa nila yung Green Revolution, makakapag-produce sila makakapagawa sila ng maraming varieties na kayang mag-survive sa different circumstances na makakatulong talaga for the resources of emerging populations. So, nevertheless, however, if the government would ever pay attention to this kind of innovation and afterward take action, syempre, so there might still be a chance for the other country to catch up. So, kung ang country natin, for example, kung ang country natin susuportaan, bibigyan ng tamang needs ang farmers natin, siguro may chance din tayo makisabay dito sa Green Revolution na to. As recombinant DNA technologies applications grew over time, the first small-scale field trials of genetically modified plant varieties were planted in the United States and Canada in 1990. So, yun na nga. Before pa nagkaroon ng yung scientist kanina, yung researcher kanina, meron pa palang iba dun sa US at saka sa Canada sa taong 1990. So, these were followed by the first commercial release of genetically modified crops in 1992. Since then, farmers have adopted genetically modified plants more frequently each year. So, yun na nga, naging successful. Gumawa sila ng marami pang modified plants. So, although the advantage of genetically modified crop types are well known, there has been significant opposition to this technology from the perspective of the environment, ethics, and those worried about corporate control over crops varieties. So, yun na nga. So, syempre, this type of anong tawag yan? Yung ginagawa nila is para silang nag-experiment sa plants pang magkaroon ng varieties na magkaroon sila ng mga varieties na ibang klase. So, therefore, the Green Revolution was discovered through genetic engineering. So, however, sa tulad ng sinabi, if the Green Revolution helped us to survive, why are there still factors that oppose genetic engineering? Bakit may opposition pa rin? So, first example, in the first environment, if there are more genetically modified organisms, there might lead to extinction of non-GM organisms, non-genetically modified organisms, and might reduce biodiversity. So, genetic engineering will be furtherly discussed by Jerick later. So, that's it for my discussion. So, as of now, I will give the virtual floor to Laika Joy for the discussion on organic farming.